starts back in October, September and October when I finish showing the previous year. Now, I select my stools, which is the most important thing. Select good stools for good stuff. Now, this is a stool that has produced good cuttings. Now, this evening we're going to root these. I'm going to show you how this is done. Now, the compost I'm going to root in is a compost I make of my own mix. This is 6 parts peat, 2 parts grit, and I add a little bit of base fertilizer. The reason for this, some people doesn't use that, but I use a little bit of fertilizer because I find that whenever the chrysanthemum cutting roots, I like to have a little bit of food that the root can carry on in. Now, as I filled the tray beforehand, I started. Now, I use a little bit of perlite just out over the top. This helps to reflect the light and keep the moisture in the compost. Just a nice little layer out over it. It's quite simple. Now, for the cutting, I just nip the cuttings off with my finger. Some people use razor blades and knives, but I just use my finger because using blades or knives you can transfer disease from one plant to another. Now these are healthy looking little cuttings. This variety I'm doing today is the spray type. It's called NB Wedding. Lovely single spray. There's quite a few cuttings on this. Nice healthy one. Now that cutting there, he looks nice, but he's too thick, too hard, so you discard him. Now, I just trim them off with the finger and thumb. Don't use the knife. It's not a job for anybody that bites their nails. But I don't bite my nails, so I find it's easy enough for me. Quite a few here now. That's really had it. Some people take the bottom leaf off. I don't. I just let the leaf stay. Now, here's our hormone rooting powder. Now that is a cutting there. I dip it in that. Some people make a hole to put them in. I just hoist them in with my hand. Put 4 in a row. And usually 12 down. But as I've not 48 cuttings today, we'll go as far as the taking. must state that I find this is a very enjoyable hobby. By making this video, I hope it might attract other people to join us in our hobby. I belong to the Northern Ireland Chrysanthemum Society. I met quite a few friends in these societies. Anybody would be welcome to join. Now, we have 17 cuttings there now, so I will try and get another one just to make an even row. That's them all inserted now. I lift my stools away and hope to get cuttings later on in about 2 weeks' time again. Now, the most important thing is that you must remember to label them. The name of the variety. And the date when the cuttings was taken. Now, I give these all a good watering. Really soak them in, drown them. Because I don't expect to water these again until the cuttings are rooted in approximately 2 to 3 weeks. Now, here I've got a soil warming table on a bench under 2 inches of sand. It's set at a temperature of approximately about 68. So I lift the tray and set it onto the heating table. As you can see, this is a tray of cuttings which was taken 2 days earlier. Now, during the rooting period, you'll find that the chrysanthemum cutting will sag. It'll go limp as if it's dying. If that happens, you just give a little spray with your spray of just ordinary water. That keeps them nice and fluid. Now, after approximately 2 weeks to 3 weeks, they will start to pick up. You see a nice light green coming. That's the sign that your cuttings are rooted. Now, I have half a tray here of ones that was rooted on the 21st of January. Now, when they get to this stage, we pot them on into a 3.5 inch pot. There again, I use the same mix that I use for rooting the cuttings. I fill the pot with half full. Just lift my cutting up right. Now, that has a fair root system for 3 weeks. Place it in the pot. Like your compost triangle. it down, not too hard. Now this one I am doing is date when rooted and when potted up. Now those are potted into the 3.5-inch pots. Now those will not receive any water. It will stay in that pot for about 3 to 4 weeks. By that stage, the roots will start to show through the bottom. Then we will have to start another procedure. The next stage is I have quite a few. One is an apricot court here. That was rooted on the 26th of January, right? That plant is approximately about 4, 5 weeks. The roots are just starting to show. That's good, healthy plants. That is a reflex. Now, this is a different way I've done these ones. These ones now was taken off the heated tray and they're put in a box. New way of trying, you know. As I say, in this game, you have to experiment. Sometimes you experiment to your cost, but as I say, if you don't do these things, you never learn. Now, we have a variety here now is called Tanis. This was rooted on the 14th of January. Now, this is at the stage to go into either a 5-inch pot or a mushroom skip. I prefer now the mushroom skip because there's less hassle. There again, the compost I use for this is Kenback Base soilless compost. It is all peat, 6 of peat, 2 of grit, 1 packet of Kenback potting base, 6 ounces of Vitex Q4, and 4 ounces of sea gold, and 1 ounce of lime. That is to keep the pH up to 6.5. At the stage now we'll pot on. Now, as I said, I'm using mushroom skips. Get out of the supermarket. They're quite cheap, cost nothing. I put 4 in one of these skips. What I normally do, I make a hole like that there with my hand. And I place a pot the same size as the one the chrysanthemums in. And set that in on a firm round, like you'd think I was at Newcastle. Remember the days when you're building storm castles. I found that in now, and when I lift it out, I leave a nice little hole. Now, take a cassette, give it a little squeeze, get your fingers in your garment, and a little tap, and out it comes. Now, there's a fair root system. You leave it dry, but we don't like to get in too much water, and any pop into that hole, firms down. That way, I don't disturb the root system at all. Label goes back in. We repeat this procedure 4 times on each box. Some people ask me, why do you have to keep changing pots all the time? Well, the answer I get them, why do you have to keep changing your shoes all the time? Because they're getting too small. There, another lovely root system again. Nice white healthy roots. Very open compost. And then it goes again. Label in again. So I try to grow, it cost me about 250 chrysanthemums. It's a hobby I started with 4 years ago. Went to the championship show in Belfast, seen all these lovely blooms, and I thought to myself, this is a challenge, and I do it. Another root system again at the Barnard Clock. It's a challenge, and I think I am getting there gradually. There's a hobby, if you don't win the championship, you don't start and fight like football players. Whoever beats you, you shake their hand, congratulate them, and you go back to the drawing board to start next year again. And hope you have got your recipe right for this year. Well, that's nice. It's just again. Burn down in. And that is they will pot it up. Now, they will stay in that skip until they're ready to pot it out in the garden. Now, the next procedure for this here is to go out into the cold frame. Now, this is the 9th of March. What I normally do, I have an aluminium greenhouse which I only use for tomatoes. And as it is spring, I put these in the aluminium greenhouse and use that as my cold frame for at least 3 or 4 weeks. Now, don't forget your slug pellets. We sprinkle around, right? It has to keep the little slugs away, because I don't believe in growing chrysanthemums for to feed the slugs. Now, we are ready now to take these to cold greenhouse. Right now on the cold greenhouse, and I'm ready just to set these in the greenhouse. Now, as you've noticed, I've quite a few different varieties in here. This variety at the end is a variety, it's a large intermediate, big yellow one called Malcolm Perkins. This is Chessington. That's another apricot Chessington, which is intermediate again. Bill Reid. Bill Kinmore, Phil Reid. Pear Celebration and Ace of Salt Cordial. Now, these are all large chrysanthemums. Now, they're sitting here, they won't receive water until I think they're asking for it. That way, with the water being kept running, the roots go rooting it. So that way, you get a bigger rooting system. Now, the only thing I do with these now, when they're sitting there, I keep the windows open, give them plenty of air. Now you can see someone blowing over there. Every 10 days, I give them a spray with malathion or Sybil. I don't use the one variety all the time because they get immune to it. So I keep changing insecticides every 10 days. That way, they should be kept nice and healthy. Now, as I this greenhouse tree, this is very handy for me that I have this to use for these for approximately 3 weeks now to the end of March, and then they'll go out into the cold frame in the garden proper. Heat-wise, some people would say, how do you do it with frost? I have an old heater here. It's actually a bathroom heater. It's hanging on the roof. Now, I've also a thermostat here, which is set at 40 degrees. Now, this is not on. This is not for the heat this greenhouse. This is only for frost protection. It means if any night there's a frost at all, this will come on and protect these chrysanthemums until they get hard. Now, at the end of April now, and as you see, we've got these chrysanthemums moved out of the cold greenhouse. They're out into the cold frame. Now, this old cold frame, it's just two old window frames just nailed together and bit of cover, they sit out there, the cover on top. As you can see in the tomato boxes over there, those are the sprays that we took earlier on in the video, earlier on in the year. They have come on tremendously well. Now, this frame is quite handy. It can be used for anything. Put the bedding plant in when the chrysanthemums are moving out. And I just have to clean, the cover. Keep the rain off and I just drop the cover down. It's quite simple, just like an old carpet. You roll her down there. If it's wet weather or going to rain or frost at night, you just roll it down like that. And the weight of that just keeps it on, no call for blowing away. Quite simple cold frame. No great money spent, but works a great job. Come the warm day, you just roll it back up again. If it's say cold day, you just roll it up a short piece and let a bit of wind in. But then on a warm day, to harden your chrysanthemums off, you just roll it right up in the daytime. And simple as that. Like rolling your carpet. Have it rolled up. Quite simple. That it. Now, these chrysanthemums are in here now, and they're well hardened off. And now it's the second week in May, and this is where the stage comes where we start to plant out. And that is the next stage. Right, second week in May, we're out in the flats here, ready to plant out. Now, as you can see, of the lines down from the space, 15 inches between each row. You can mark and stick 15 inches, put the cane in, tie the cane well down. Repeat the same again, another cane in, hammer well down, nice and straight. Keep this going till we get them eventually all. Now, that's that. Now, those can be very dangerous. Very easy to lose a knife. When I'm bending down or anything, I just take a little cup and put it over the top of it to make sure that I can see that they don't cut me out. Now, get everything prepared. My ties, instead of using string, I just use this old waste pipe, piece of wire, twist it all around like a spring. And then I just light it off like that. I'm left with something like this, right? Now, take a pair of pliers and just cut there, and you got one tie. Now, there's 3 ties cut in a very short time. Those are ready now for to tie up the chrysanthemum instead of buying them out of the shop, which they can be very expensive. Any type of wire will do at all. Now, we'll go to, that's the chrysanthemums here now. This box I have now, this is a chrysanthemum called Gambit. Now you can see the advantage of having this here on. I can see that there quite easily. I won't do myself an injury. Right? Now, I split the boxes, go away, down the side. Now, this is a variety called Red Gambit. Now, get my hand, quite a big root ball here. A lovely root ball. That is in a period of, that is in the 21st of February, that chrysanthemum. Now, I just happened to be planting this chrysanthemum out today that it requires stopping. Now, what I mean by stopping is the centre of the chrysanthemum, just the very growing tip, we just nip it out very gently. And that's what you call a stop. Now, then your chrysanthemum will send laterals out from those axils there. You can actually see the little laterals beginning to come. Now, we will get this fella into resting place for blooming time. Just take a little hole. Now, I have this flat well prepared, plenty of good farmyard manure in it. It's down to a pH of 7 or 6.5. Actually, you can see the manure going on there. I set them in here. Now, if you notice, I plant them on the inside if they can, because stack them well in there. Nice and dry. Burn them down. and that is him in. There's the advantage of the rings. No need tying with old ties. Just flip the ring round. There he is. Now, I plant him on this side because I get an awful wind coming from this side. So, if I plant him on that side, that chrysanthemum will be getting blue with the wind and he'll be banging his brains out and damaging himself all against that cane. That's why he's on this side. Now, got my label again. I stop this now on the 16th of May. Date it was stopped. Now, I place the label tightly into the cane. That way, when you're hoeing or anything, you don't rip the label away and get lost. Get it, no, it's not like that. It's not a good, there that big ball of roots there, fantastic. Those, there's the laterals now. Laterals are coming now, they're a wee bit further advanced, so we'll do a different method with this now. I can give this what you call a hard stop, which delays the flowering period. I give them a hard stop, I break them down there, right? Now, the laterals will come out there again. This will delay the flowering of that one, probably about a fortnight. Get the hose nice and dry the ground, you know. I don't like to give them much water, you know. So we don't plant them in again. There you go. But if you ring around, like the man said, marry him to the cane. And that is it. Label again. Same date again, 16th of May. And I put HS on that, means hard stop. I just see the difference between the two chrysanthemums when the blooms come. Do that. Now, as you can see here now, with most of these all planted, you know, there's quite a few chrysanthemums in here that's in the region of 180. They're all planted 15 inches apart. Some of them has been planted closer up the far side because they grow single. Now, these will grow on here now, and there's some now, I'll show you, as I showed you there earlier today, that I stopped one on the 16th today. Now, this is a variety here which I stopped on the 1st of May. That was a fortnight ago on this variety. Now, you can see the little laterals all going away. There's three of them coming up now. And that has been stopped on the 1st of May, which is a fortnight ago. It shows you how much growth they've made in 2 weeks. When they go on now, you get this dirt about a foot high, the laterals. I put on another cane and I picked the two which I think's the best. Now, the wee fella there behind the cane, he's not very healthy, that one there now. We'll see how he goes, so I usually pick the best two coming up. Now, the foliage in them there, they look a wee bit limp, you know, but they've been planted out, so As long as they don't wilt too much, I'm not really worried, because I don't like to give them water, because I reckon they'll just find their own water out of the ground. There's plenty in that. Once they find that, the roots go away out and look for it. They don't get lazy and sit on top of the ground. Now, it is just a big frame. It's 40 foot by 18. As you can see, these are always just ordinary conduit poles for electric. They're just concreted into the ground on a frame, 3 by 2 and 2 by 2. Now, this stayed like that. People think you grow these chrysanthemums all indoors, but it's wrong. They all grew outside. And then on the second week in August, I'd put a cover out over the top here. That's just to keep the rain off from the flowers. And there's nothing really to it, we just go on. Now, that's most of the hard work done. Now, we just let them grow on, and as the laterals advance and come up, we put extra canes in to accommodate the laterals. Then we'll go on up. Now, that's the advantage of the little ring. There's a ring there. As they grow, the lateral, I can just advance that right up the cane to the top. Then, when I'm finished putting the chrysanthemum, I throw it in the bucket, and that's been reused next year again. There's no tying, no mucking about, no nothing. It's quite simple. Just go on. I spray them again. I spray them about every 10 days, or when they need it. I just spray them with mollicine, sybil, anything at all. Usually just to keep the insects away. Now the next stage, they'll go on, and we'll come back. They should be starting to form their buds in July sometime. Now, they look quite healthy, quite pleased. Let nature just take its course now. Now, the second week in July, you can see from the last time we were here at planting out, 8 weeks has lapsed. And you can see these plants have grew on quite well. They're good, all good strong plants, good clean foliage. That was with spraying, with sybil and everything, just to whatever you think best to try and kill insects. Yep, but we've got to the stage now where we get ready for to take the buds. Now, we'll start up at the far end of the plot here. There's some ready to take the buds, which we always try to get the buds about the first or second week in July. That's if our timing's right. But as I say, it's a bit of lady luck that we get them right to the show. So we'll go up now and we'll take the buds from the variety at the top end, which is ready to develop the buds. Now, I'm going to take the buds on these chrysanthemums here now. They're ready. If you look there at the top, that's what we call the buds. These are all the laterals, right? So, you take these buds, I like them go pretty long before I take them, because you can damage the little buds if you do it too early. So, I just nip the little laterals all out. Very carefully, All right, down the shoot. Then you go on down the plant, just all of the leaf axils, any side shoots, you move them right down. right down to wherever they're going. Just a little while we talked about earlier on in the video. The advantage of it is down there. I can shift that up to there now, right? The top of the cane, just close them, and there it's set. Right, that is the bud taken. Right, so, right now, it's a week since the last took the buds of these. You can see now we're back now again after a week. Some side shoots still developing. You'll still get side shoots coming now and again, but you keep taking them off as you go along. Just keep watching them. You should watch your bulbs developing. Now that bulb has swelled quite a considerable lot in a week. That's the same bud that we took a week ago. Now you can see the way it's developing. Nice strong neck. It's growing on. Foliage nice. We just get them respray about every 10 days. That's for to keep any insecticides or aphids going into the bud. Now, there's another variety here. This is Pearl Celebration. Nice strong buds again. They're developing nicely again. You move on down, side shoots as you go. There's one now. That bud is small. It's been only developed, say, yesterday, right? They developed them as you take them. These ones are not ready for taking yet, so they'll be actually flowering later, you know. So they know they grew on pretty well. Nature takes its course. I just have to wait on them developing. There's another variety again. Bud was taken 2 days ago. That is a George Griffiths. Lovely red chrysanthemums there. Now, about 4 weeks' time, I'll be ready to put bags on these. So, we'll be back again in 4 weeks' time, and buds like those will be showing colour. And they show colour, then we bag them. So, when we return the next time, we'll be able to show you how bagging was done. We've come to the stage now where we start to bag these chrysanthemums. Now, this is a bloom, it's just up ready for the bag. Now, the reason why we bag these, the only ones we can bag is mostly inters or intermediates, yellows or whites. Now, some people wonder why you bag. The reason why we bag is because it's to keep them clean and keep the green fly and black fly out of them. Now, I will just carry on now and show you the procedure that bagging occurs. First we get a bag. These are special greaseproof bags. They're 15 inches by 13, right? We get a puffer then, right? And this is smaller than dust. We just give it a wee puff like that, right? Make sure we got it just in for to chill any vapors. Now, with a job you'd need 3 hands, like it's different. You have the tie and your bag and your powder, so I just hang a tie around the ear. It acts as a hand. Now, you get a bag the neck. Some people wet these slightly to make them a little bit more pliable. I just do it this way. This is the time it tests where you're blue or not, and you have to do an awful gluing here. You get the bag up like that. You just open her back out and turn over. You go up about a third inside the bag. Right? Now, here's a little tube. Insert it up inside. Give a little blow. That's for any air that's been lost. Remove that. Now, this is where I said where the third hand comes in. At the tie behind the ear. Take it away. Tie it round tightly. Put them in. A few twists. Put your hand under the bag and just a little push down. Gently like that. Hold the corners in. Now, the most important thing is put your date on, which is the 1st of the 9th. Now, the reason why you put the date on, you go round from you seen that bud till it would be probably out, fully out, would be approximately 4 weeks. So I expect that bloom to be ready by the 1st of the 10th, which to my reckoning, the bloom is running late. So it should be, with a bit of luck, it will catch the last show of the season. Why it's any good or not. Alright. As I said before, the reason why we put the bags on is for try and keep your blooms clean. Alright, this one I'm opening, it's an incurred called egret. There's a white one. We just open them up now, see now. There's a nice bloom there. Nice pop on them. It's nice and clean. Alright, that'll do for the show this weekend. Look. Put up another one here. That's not a nice egret. Nice and clean. Okay. Oh, nice bloom. That's nice. Nice medium incurve. Now those three there will be for one vase. We hope to the show on Saturday. Now we'll go up and we'll open another variety here called Max Riley. Heard me talking earlier on in the video this year when we're taking the cuttings. We're talking about a new variety called Max Riley. There's a new one I was growing this year. So this is the fruit of the pudding now. We'll see what it comes out like. There's a lovely bloom there. Lovely Max Riley. Now that is a good bloom. There again. If you look there, wee ape it, wee black fly. There's a wee fella there now. He try and lift him out. But he's dead. I gave him a dust with powder the other night. Another Max Riley here. This here keeps them clean, but sometimes you can trap some wee insect inside. But there again, another lovely bloom. Lovely medium. That is, how would I call a perfect bloom? He's not just right up. It'd be ready perfect by Saturday. That one definitely I will be growing up here. We'll try and get a match to those two. Well, opening these bags, you have to tie them tight to stop the aphids getting their way up into them. He's pushing the wrong way, you know. Here we go again. Another lovely bloom. There's 3 lovely blooms. Nice, clean, lovely. That's a lovely medium in curve. Real, I call that a class bloom. Now, you quickly walk up. This is a medium intermediate. This is red Carling Welby. He's got his full potential. I shall get a both of those for the show if we can. This is Carling Welby itself. Another good chrysanthemum. Medium again. Good medium chrysanthemum. The large one, this is large intermediate. It's a Malcolm Perkin. That's nice large bloom there, right? This warm weather we've had, it has played a lot of havoc with us because it's brought some on further than what it should, you know. This one opened it earlier there this afternoon. That's another one, not very much that one. But I just carry on until I get 6 blooms. We'll do 2 vases. Hope they go on the show bench on Saturday. You've seen how the blooms have opened up. Now the next stage is putting them on the show bench. I hope to be able to show you at a later date vases on the show bench. Now the next job is the blooms that I have cut, ready for cutting. I will cut them and put them in water. Let them stay there until Friday night. Then we will transport them to the show and we'll get them staged on the show bench. And hope when we come back on Saturday afternoon, there'll be a red card at them. Or maybe silver. This is an exhibit in the Hamilton Cup here in Belfast. This is a boat of Malcolm Perkin. Or boat of Bill Wade. No, Malcolm Perkin. I think it's an apricot 40 or something. So an apricot Chedington. This is a 4-ball slash for large intermediate. Some third in this class. Oh, when you look at it, it's not a bad exhibit. Again for the Windbank Cup. This is a boat, pretty water. It's a medium reef slack. This is the boat of apricot 40, a large reef slack. Now, this was a 2-balls class. And as you see, I've got a first prize and I also gained the Windbank Cup in this class. So there again, good exhibit and a good result, very good result. I still in the 2-balls entry here in the break classes. This class here warrants 2 balls of the praise, right? All of the one cultivar, right? Now, this cultivar here is MB Wetton, lovely Dunlop spray. This one here is Talbot Classic. This is a new one I grew this year. Now, This was a real good exhibit. The gave me the county down cup, first prize, and county down cup, and also the National Development Society bronze medal for the best balls, two balls praise from the show. I really enjoyed Weir's growing on it. Another good result, which I'm very pleased with. Take it, Billy's balls, long. Little Chesterton. Now, this ball was entered in the four balls class, same as my own, but this ball's a Billy. Gained them the silver medal on the championship for the first ball in the whole show. My congratulations, Billy.
Thank you very
On
much.
a fine achievement. Well done, Billy. Well done.
Thank you.
Let's go on up the lawn there, dude. You want to get the front line, right? Here is my ball, the praise, Sully. Henry Wadden got the best ball from show.
That is a very good ball.
For Jones medals, and then
Congratulations, Herbie.
thank you very much, Sully. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you. This is a two ball slap again. This is a North of Max Riley. North of Egress. Nice. This ball looks lovely. It looks a beautiful ball, right? This is a two ball slap, right? Unfortunately, I got nothing with this exhibit. So when you lose a chance, you'll always find out you make look nice. But at the end of the day, the judge is right. So there you are. He looks nice, but in the judge's eyes, so. Right. Here we are now. We're back in the Chrysanthemum patch here. And as you can see, I've brought a fair bit of silver back with me this year. And I consider this to be my best year yet. I've been showing 4 years, and this is the best. Now, these 4 trophies here, the Chrysanthemum Duncan was considered to be the best show. This Cultivating Cup, I got that for the best water mediums in the show. This was for the best exhibit of large. That was the League Cup. This one here was the Rubin Cup for the best large of mediums in the show. And this is the Polly Cup for the best exhibit the King Class 172. Also picked up the silver medal. That was for the best large in the show. I also picked up the bronze medal for the best medium in the show. Now, the following week, we went to Belfast. Now, I picked up the Windbank Cup for 2 borders of mediums in the show. I also picked up the County Down Cup for the best exhibit of sprays in the show. And also the bronze medal for the best swords in the show. These are all the trophies I just picked up in all the little shows on our way to the big show. Now, you can see there's a fair amount of silverware, and when you get back in a year, you're bound to be pleased. The procedure is tidying up the whole area, putting down the old chrysanthemums, and we usually mark up the stools, the best stools. I usually put a red thing on. These are the ones that produces the best flues. These are the ones that we're going to take for boxing off now. The next procedure, I'm going to box these up. That is my next procedure. Now, as you can see, I've got a stool here in my hand. We would normally lift it and we normally tap it gently like out there to get as much soil off it as I possibly can. And then it's the second tiers. I'll put all these laterals right back down. You don't want these on because these are old shoots from the stool and they would have buds too early. Like that there, get it all the soil off it, completely off it. And give them a wee trim like that. Give them the roots down. Just more like give them a good haircut, you know. Right. As you can see, he's marked. The next thing, I have a mushroom skip here. What I normally do, I put 4 stools in each one. That is just a matter of heat, wee bit of grit, and a back there. Now, it's on the dry side. Now, the reason for drying it is because I don't want this to grow until I want it to grow. Just set them in nicely there, not too deep. Set them in nicely round the corner. Not a wee bit too high. Put them down to about 6-7 inches. Throw them in. Put water. Make sure that you put your label in. You know which variety it is. Now, what I normally do, I do 4 of these nuts as they have finished. Then we put them in a cold frame. I keep them in this cold frame. This is the first week in October. So I'll let these sit. Now this variety here is just a cut Chessington. I'll be trying to root that in the 1st of January. So he'll sit in the cold frame. In about the 1st week or 2nd week in December, I'll bring them in and I'll put them on the heated bench in the greenhouse. Give them a little bit of water then. Heat that water. That'll start a growth which will produce nice young cuttings for me in January. So that is about it. That more or less concludes the video. We've done a complete circle now. And as you probably see by going through the video that it's a very interesting hobby. Now, if anybody that would like to grow these chrysanthemums or anything, you know, would like to get in touch with myself or anybody belonging to the Northern Ireland Chrysanthemum Society, you'd only be too welcome to help you out and see at the end of the day, you might be standing behind the trophies instead of me. So I'd like to just say a final thank you to everybody who was concerned in making this video. David McCauley and Philip Ogle of Banbridge. And there again, I'd like to thank you all very much indeed. Right, these are a few lates here. I've tried growing some lates. And as you see, this variety here, this is a West Brum, right? It's a large white reflex. Now, this is the 7th of November. So we have a show on the 9th. That's 2 days' time. So these are pretty ready for it. Now, if you look at the centres there, they're not far away now. I think they'll get on the show benches. These are all West Brum down along here now. And I just try a wee hand up and, you know, see how I get on. This is my 2nd year growing. So I'm not too bad, I think. This variety down in the corner here, this is Patricia Miller. It's a medium reflex, right? But as I say, he's struggling now to hold him for this shows in 2 days. This one here is Jimmy Mottram. This is a Jap. So obviously he's leaning a bit to one side, but that won't make the show bench. This other one here is Jesse Habgood. That's a gigantic reflex. It's a bit like a mop head, you know, but that's the type of the chrysanthemum. This one here now is a large intermediate. This is Panache. Now, this is the 1st year of grew this. It's not a bad looking plant now. I said grew up next year again. The ones behind here, this is Bill Florentine. This is another intermediate again, large intermediate, nice again. The same again here. This is Bill Florentine again. These ones not just quite up. They're not as big a bloom as the other ones. This one here is Roy Copeland. This is a medium, bronze medium. Not nice looking chrysanthemum. Should get a bunch of those. This one here now is Shirley Primrose. This is a Jap. It's the first year I grew these Japs now, and it looks nice to me, but some people doesn't like them. The wife doesn't like them. This one at the back here now. This is another. This is silver gigantic. That's another Jap again. This one here is pink duke, right? This other one at the back again. Now you can see in there that is golden gigantic. There again, that's a Roy Copeland again. This is another golden gigantic again. And this one here is another silver gigantic. Overall, now I should have a few on the show bench. So all I do is just hope that I grew them right and get something anyway, But there again, it's nice to see them on the bench.